Well, good morning. So we're working our way through Harville Hendricks and Helen LaKelly Hunt's book, Making Marriage Simple, 10 Relationship-Saving Truths. And last week I looked at chapter 1, Romantic Love is a Trick, and chapter 2 today, Incompatibility is Grounds for Marriage. Now in our culture, generally, incompatibility is grounds for divorce. But Harville, who's writing this chapter, flips that upside down. And he says, yes, in the romantic love phase of a relationship, it tends to be the things two people have in common which attracts them together, and that makes for a strong bond. As he says, people want to believe they've fallen in love with someone who is a lot like them. But the fact is, we're drawn to people who are, in certain ways, our polar opposites. This is why romantic love needs to be such a powerful force. Without it, we'd see the truth of our incompatibility right away and run screaming in the other direction. So he says, while two people have a lot of things in common, we found that couples are incompatible in two basic ways: how they relate to structure and freedom, and handle stress and conflict. And I certainly see number one in the office every day, how people relate to structure and freedom. And all couples need to sort that out. Some people want more togetherness, some people want more distance, and every couple has to figure that out. How much closeness they need, how much space they need. And obviously it differs for every couple. So for me, the big aha moment came. This came a few months after we started our Imago journey. And I'm the one who wanted more closeness. Chris needed more distance. And in my little brain, I'm thinking, well, why can't she just come turn towards me and come back and be close? And the aha moment was, why can't I just back off and give her space? Let her have her freedom. And I realized it was just as hard for her to turn back to me as it was for me to let go and give her that space. But once I did that, then it gave her enough space, allowed her to turn around and come towards me, which is what she did. But it was a real big aha moment for me because I was blaming her for not turning around and coming to me. And, all of a sudden I realized, well, why can't I just back off? Anyway, that was interesting. So as for number two, how we handle stress and conflict, Harville goes on, people's reaction to stress and conflict fall into one of two categories: minimizing or maximizing. When minimizers are anxious, they tend to pull their reactions deep inside. They contain their energy. We call this person the turtle because their pulling inward is similar to a turtle retreating into its shell. When maximizers are anxious, they tend to express themselves loudly to whoever is in hearing range. We call this person the hailstorm because when you're on the receiving end, it can feel as though you're getting pelted with golf ball-sized hail. And again, most couples will recognize that dynamic, that if there's an issue, one person tends to, close down, the other person tends to, talk to me. So I was certainly the turtle in our relationship. Not that Krista was ever a big hailstorm, but if there was an issue, she'd want to discuss it. My reactive response was to close down. It was my unconscious way of trying to stay safe, to stay alive. Now, going back, my dad died when I was 5. It's during the war. I'm sent to a military boarding school. So I'm 5 years old in a dormitory of 40 kids. Like, where do you show your little hurts to? You don't. You step on, you get smacked, and I'm sure I got smacked a lot. Anyway, like I said, I liked the boarding school. I had a lot of friends, played a lot of sports. But I learned to, it was during the war, there was no kindergarten. I was a small 5, everybody else was 6. I just learned to stay below the radar. That's how I survived back then. So as a turtle, obviously that strategy was not effective in our intimate relationship. So as a turtle in our relationship, I needed to learn to stick my nose out a bit more. And my partner had to learn to give me a bit of space and time to know it was safe to come out from under my shell. Harville concludes, like the trick of romantic love, turtle hailstorm physics are a law of nature. It always works exactly like this. The deeper a turtle withdraws into its shell, the more the hailstorm will hail. the more the hailstorm hails, the deeper the turtle withdraws. And I'm sure some of you have seen that in action. So how do two incompatible people learn to live together? And he says, first, it's important to recognize your differences in a non-judgmental way. It doesn't make me right and my wife wrong. It's just we're different. All right? Now, there's another place, and I'm going to actually work on that at some point. They have a list of what conscious partners know. And I'll go through that at some point, but I'm trying to work my way through this book right now. But in that list, there's a couple of things I think fit here. And for example, they say they, meaning conscious partners, have complementary defenses that are natural. And they accept that fact about each other without judgment. They are different from each other and will never be the same. Similarity is as good as it gets. I like that. Here's the one I like. They can assume that their partner's intentions are good, even if their behavior is not. And lastly, they need to be sensitive to their different needs for space and togetherness. And all couples have to figure that out, all right? And so he concludes the chapter with, although our incompatibility is largely what draws us to our partner, unconsciously, of course, ironically, both partners need to learn how to be more like each other. As the turtle becomes more storm-like and the hailstorm becomes more turtle-like, balance is restored. In addition, these newly cultivated skills help each of you become better human beings in the world. Okay? So again, that idea of incompatibility as grounds for marriage is that, yes, a lot of similarities, but those two basic ways, often couples, one person wants more togetherness, wants more closeness, and couples have to figure that out. And the other way is the maximizer, minimizer, that if there's conflict, then one tends to draw the energy in, one tends to draw the energy out. And all couples have to learn to figure that one out too. So, okay, so next week, I'll explore chapter 3, which is conflict is growth trying to happen. Conflict is growth trying to happen. Okay, have a great week.